Hi friends, I've been working in my garden a lot the past week and been really inspired by Japanese gardens. So in a minute here, we're gonna give a little tour of what I've been working on back at home, and then we're gonna head out to some of my favorite Japanese gardens across Seattle. Traditional Japanese gardens are landscapes in miniature. At least that's what I've been learning. I've been watching this YouTube channel that I'm really enjoying called Japanese Garden TV. It's very meditative and slow and just follows these gardeners who build gardens in Japan. It's lovely, you should watch it. I did find this nice poem from Japanese poet Kobayashi Isa about Japanese gardens. The morning glories in full bloom in the garden, the cool breeze on my face, the rustling of the leaves, brings calm to my heart. Here the world seems to stop, and time stands still for me as I lose myself in thought. Oh, how I long to linger in this peaceful sanctuary and forget the troubles of life. The morning glories, the delicate beauty so fleeting, remind me to savor each moment. In this tranquil garden, I find solace and serenity and a moment of perfect peace. Now, I'm a realtor, but I think in another life, I would be a gardener. You know, you get to work with your hands, you get to get dirty, you get to create beautiful spaces. Yeah, it sounds really nice. I'm a white guy in a suburban neighborhood, so I don't think that I'm ever going to be able to create a true traditional Japanese garden without years of study. But I am going to visit some of the gardens in my city and try to draw some inspiration from them in order to create just a little bit of beauty in my backyard. So let me show you around to see what we're working with here. I don't take credit for this yard. We've lived here for 2 years, and I think somebody spent a lot of time and money landscaping it. But I do really like all of the distinct spaces here. We have a nice lawn. A rock bed takes up most of the yard. On the patio, there's room for a table and chairs and a fire pit. And then there's a nice garden bed that's mostly empty right now. In my research, I found that most Japanese gardens incorporate a lot of curved lines because, you know, there's no straight lines in nature. It has fallen into disrepair though. You know, this house was a rental for a number of years. We bought it knowing that. All of the borders have kind of been ruined between the rock and the landscaping mulch. That's what I'm working on right now. I have this line of rocks that I'm adding in order to create some separation. They don't get mixed up too much. You know, it's getting kind of messy. So yeah, my plan is to just work with what I have already, which I really like it. It just needs to be enhanced and beautified a little bit. So Kendall and I, and maybe Celia if she's awake, we're gonna head out to the 4 Japanese gardens that are in Seattle proper in order to get a little bit of inspiration and just kind of enjoy ourselves for the day a little bit. Come on. So this is Kubota Gardens. This is a city park in South Seattle. In 1980, the city's bought it from the Kubota family, and it's kind of a sad story. We'll get into that in a minute, but for now, you know, it's this really big 20-acre piece of property. It's beautiful. There's a foundation that maintains it. It's not a true classical Japanese garden, but it is inspired by you know, the Japanese garden aesthetic and design philosophy.
So Fujitaro Kubota was a Japanese immigrant, and he landed in Seattle and started a landscaping company that grew to be fairly successful. And back in that time, Asian Americans weren't allowed to purchase land. And so apparently with the help of a friend, no one is quite sure who, he did buy this land right where we're standing here in South Seattle. Built his business here, built out the gardens, and then the tragic part of the story is that he and his family were interned in 1942 and sent to an internment camp in Idaho. When they got back 3 years later in 1945, they essentially had to start from scratch. I guess the grass was up to here, but they did. He refurbished the land, continued with his business, and When he was about to die in 1970, he approached the city to try to sell it to them because he wanted it to become more of a public space, but they actually declined. He died 3 years later in 1973. In 1980 or so, when developers wanted to put condos here, the city did band together and a certain councilwoman found the funds, and the city did end up purchasing this land after Kubota's death. So I think it really now kind of serves as a monument to those Japanese Americans who were interned, and this is honestly kind of a hidden gem in Seattle, and I hope more people come and check out the beautiful gardens. It's like hidden around nothing. May I have a 12-ounce matcha? Oh, hot, please. Yep. Ooh, that.
I think it's so interesting how a lot of early Seattle was designed by just a handful of people. And you have the Olmsted brothers who did a lot of the parks in Seattle. Just a handful of architects did a lot of the original buildings downtown. And then Kubota had his hand in a lot of the natural spaces, a lot of the gardens, a lot of them private, but we're on Seattle U campus right now. And there's a little Japanese tea garden right in the middle of campus that Kubota designed. So we're gonna go check that out. I haven't finished all of my research yet. There's 4 Japanese gardens in the city of Seattle proper. And so far 2 of them have been designed by Kubota himself.
We got a matcha to stay on theme here.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's tasty.
We're just, surrounded by city here. And this is a very small garden. And it's lovely.
It'd be pretty sweet to come out of your dorm room and have this right outside your front door.
Yeah.
We just need a little nature in the urban jungle.
Jungle within the jungle. No. Japanese gardens are not a jungle. That's the point.
They're very
It's highly manicured.
meticulous.
Meticulous. That's 2 down, 2 to go. We're gonna go to the official Seattle Japanese garden, and I've forgotten what the last one was.
The last one. I don't even remember. Well, were we gonna go to Crookburg and Shoreline?
No, that's not in Seattle.
Oh.
I have to refer to my notes here. Oh yeah, the UPS waterfall garden in Pioneer Square.
Like United Parcel Service?
Yeah. I don't know, it's like commemorated the UPS building downtown. I'm not sure exactly. We'll find out when we get there.
Mm.
And now for something completely different. I'm doing this ChatGPT, AI, and real estate webinar. And I don't know, we'll see. Should be interesting. I also have a nice frozen burrito for lunch. I think that life is all about contrasts, jumping from the natural world and Japanese gardens to the digital.
Chat GPT so you can put in your ideas and we can have all the agents vote them up. We're going to take the top 10 of those ideas and later this year.
Now, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm making most of this up. I got a whole bunch of rocks here at my local gardening supply store at Sky, and I'm trying to create this border. You can see I spent like $40 and got various sizes here, kind of smaller ones all the way up to larger rocks here. And I went through and got all of the larger ones to create this path. And then I'm going to use some of the smaller ones to create a secondary line there so that it kind of creates like a gradation, all of the small rock transitions to gradually bigger and bigger rock. Biggest rocks kind of holds back the bark dust and the rock, which is now getting mixed, as wind blows everything around. All of this chat GPT stuff is fascinating. I've been using it to help create these videos a little bit. I'll write an outline and then ask chat to turn that into longer paragraphs. It's really good at editing my poor writing. And I found the poem at the beginning of this video by asking chat for a Japanese poet who writes about gardens. I still think that I could probably do a better job writing and researching if I spent the time to do it all myself, but who has the time for all that? I have a business to run, new staff starting in a few weeks, a 1-year-old to run around with, and a garden to cultivate.
Look at the fish. Look at that guy. Look at that. Look, Sleepy. Cool. We're at the. Where are we?
Seattle. We're at the Seattle. Oh my god. Kendall fell as we were trying to vlog. Missed a step. Fell like flat on her face.
Why do I fall so often?
We're at the Seattle Japanese garden that's in the Arboretum, and it does cost $10 per adult to get in here, but I think it's worth it. It's very pretty. It's, the Kubota garden is massive and really nice. This one is much more highly manicured.
Let's have a little recuperation. Maybe there's a cracker for you or something.
We actually don't appreciate that sound.
It's really scary for Mom and Joanna. We don't like it. Oh, can we have some wine or something, or champagne?
Okay.
This is so nice.
Oh, these are pretty. I'm gonna get one of those.
This is blue juniper. This is blue chip juniper. This is blue arrow juniper. This is blue star juniper.
No, this is the year of borders. I need to work on hardscaping and plants probably next year. I'm going to spend the next few days wheelbarrowing rocks from my driveway to my backyard, but for now I need a cup of coffee. This video kind of makes it look like I have a coffee every 15 minutes, but we have been running around town over the course of a few days here. I realized also as I was editing that I didn't actually make much progress on the garden, so I'm sorry for a non-update on my project. Okay, I'm going to call that quits for now. For the video, that is, not the project. The project... I just spilled my coffee. The project goes on probably all summer long. This is the year of borders. I'm going to finish all of the hardscaping this summer. Hopefully, that's the plan. Maybe I'll make more videos about it. If you're thinking about making a home in Seattle, send me a message. Or just stay tuned for more housing and design content from my home in Seattle. Bye.